של אבי שמחה כהן, שהיא בעצם עובדה באדקס עוד בימיה הראשונים, ובשנים האחרונות היא חוקרת למידה דיגיטלית, גם על הצד המענה שלה. ושל אבי, בבקשה. מזל מזלנו שהיא בארץ בדיוק. אז קודם כל, אין לך משהו אותם? אז בינתיים מה שרוצה להתחלה, אני רוצה שכל אחד תגיד שלום ובאדם שנהדה שוב. ונחת אתם לעשות את הכבוד. אם יש מילה שאתם לא מבינים, אני מילה שאני חושבת רגע. So I want to start with a question.
She was born in America.
What's the difference between a monologue and a dialogue?
What's the difference?
Between a monologue and a dialogue.
Depends if you're listening or not.
Very good. My mom says in her cute accent, a monologue is one person talking to themselves. A dialogue is two persons talking to themselves. And you know, when you come to online education, I want to give you a little bit of my personal story of why am I doing this, why do I care so much about education. And I'm going to start with my high school experience, my middle school experience. I was a very dreamy student. These were my big creations and big projects that I've done in high school. It was very hard for me to listen to the talking heads, the teacher that's just standing there and talking to us. I mostly made unicorns and butterflies in my high school, and when I came to education, I decided that the informal education world is going to be the best. I joined the Jewish agency, and I started doing projects in Jewish communities around the world. We would fly to South Africa, to the US, and teach Jewish values through drama, through plays, through games. And I really enjoyed the informal education world, and that's kind of the base of where I am today and how my thinking has developed. I came to Harvard specifically for the happiness class. I don't know if you've heard about it. Back in 2007, the most popular course at Harvard University was the happiness class called like Tal Ben Shachal. The happiness class was basically a class in positive psychology. Positive psychology is taking the mainstream psychology, which deals usually with pathogenesis, which is studying the pathogens of disease. So studying depression, studying anxiety, studying why are things not working, studying the student that's not doing well, and trying to fix. Positive psychology and the course was dealing with the cellular genetics perception of studying self-esteem, studying motivation, studying the tip of the stem, it's called, studying the best student in school and asking what are the things that made them so well. And here are the different, I don't know if you could read from far away, but these are different aspects that are under the umbrella of wellness psychology. And I got really passionate about this research. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I don't want it to be in Harvard. I wanted to come to every student that were like me, that didn't really focus on classes. And I decided that I'm going to make a TV show. And I made a proposal. And we signed a contract with Oprah Winfrey's channel. I met with MTV twice. I started my own little show so I could learn how to produce. And we created all these very fun, with animation students, we tried all these different experiments on using actors, using different engaging vessels and tools for education. And I kept on trying, but for some reason, I wasn't very successful. And I decided that I need to learn how to be a producer. Because, first of all, I'm not a very good presenter without a microphone. I have a very low voice. So I needed to learn the tools of how to produce something. I needed to learn really what makes a video fun and engaging and what makes the viewer really enjoy. So I decided to go and start working with edX. edX, as you all know, edX is a platform started by Harvard and MIT, and later joined the rest of the Ivy Leagues and other universities where they take the courses and put them online for free. Specifically edX and Coursera and NovoEd, they take the courses, they take the lecture and try to cut the lecture into short parts so they'll be more fun to watch. And currently there's research on how to make those videos more fun. My team was a team at edX at MIT, actually. And because we were an experimental team by definition, we had more freedom. I came as an instructional designer, in other words, designing instructions, and we tried to make it a little bit more fun. You can see me over here with a timeline, so we put the lectures by timeline. We stole memes from online and turned them into, we put text over the meme to create it more appropriate for the course. We dealt with the course about entrepreneurship. So you can see here, it's how to find your customer, or we had an illustrator that made different pictures about the course. Here are a few of our cute little pictures. And you can see how we tried to make the course more fun. We put the pictures between the lectures and tried to make it a little bit more interesting. The course was really, really successful because of those colorful and dynamic pictures. We had 56,000 students for the first course, and the president of MIT, Raphael Reich, said, hey, this is the most popular course at this point at edX. Let's do an experiment in blended learning and try to bring the students who took the course online, try to make something in person with them and offer them to come for an accelerator. So we called it the Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp of MITx, of the edX platform. And we sent an email. I sent an email to 56,000 students saying, hey, come and apply to this accelerator. Does anyone here know about Birthright, Siglit? Mm-hmm. So I used the Siglit back in the days. And this was kind of a Siglit about an edX course. It was really fun. It was a 6-day course. We had 500 applicants. Out of them, my colleague and myself interviewed 200 students. And eventually we had 47 who came and paid the full price. We had 3 full scholarships that everyone else paid, and it was the first edX course that actually had revenue. Because right now edX is a philanthropic endeavor. So this course actually had an income because of the bootcamp, and this year is going to be the 4th year of the bootcamp that was based on the course. But what I specifically got from this experience is I got to learn who is my learner, who's the person sitting in front of our classes, right? I said we were talking to 200 students. Each one I spoke with at least for an hour. So I got to really learn and start noticing common threads of who is our students on this course. So for example, most of our students were the oldest in their family. Most of them have very strong self-discipline. That's a very specific person. Most of them also very interesting. Most of them like to read historic novels. So I identified a persona, and that's kind of what enabled me to move to the next step, which is my current research at Harvard. I'm sorry I can't hear the music. It makes it much more fun. Is that right? So what I'm studying now, I'm doing it as I'm currently a Harvard graduate student. The research project that I'm doing is it's a grant project, and it's for Harvard's platform. Harvard's platform is called Canvas. So it's not edX, it's not free for everyone. Canvas is for Harvard students. But it's the same, it's taking the Harvard classes and putting them online, again, trying to put them slice them into short videos and an hour and a half each. And what I do in my research right now is I meet professors. First of all, I meet the designers. So the designers of the different courses at different Harvard schools, like Harvard School, the medical school, and the School of Education, and the Kennedy School of Leadership. I meet with the designers of all courses and ask them what are the most popular courses, what are the courses that are successful at Harvard right now on the online platform. And I ask them, what about them makes them successful? What are the different elements and tools that you've used and the courses use, and what makes them, is it just a charismatic professor, or is it more than that? The second step is I meet with students of the different courses and ask students what is their experience. What is their experience with the course and what makes the course good for them? And eventually I meet with faculty, the professors and the teaching assistants, and ask them what makes them unable to fulfill some of those things that make the course really fun. What is their experience with the courses? And I want to share with you the tools so far of what I'm building. The end goal of my research is building a platform for the faculty of Harvard, the professors and the teacher assistants. And I want to share with you a few of those tools because maybe you could use them later in your projects. So one of the things that I found is the community aspect. I asked you to say hello to the person next to you. Tova and Uriel. Do you know each other? No. And that's something that happens a lot in online courses. Students come, especially to Harvard, they come, right now you're all sitting and listening to me, but you don't know each other, and that's a problem. And that's even more problematic when it comes to an online course, because you get a lot from learning from hearing the professor, but you're right now in a full room or in an online platform with like-minded people that you can learn so much from. People come from Harvard. A lot of students say we come also to meet the other students. And that's something that we miss a lot, especially in the online platform. One of the ways to deal with that is group work, right? Putting the students into groups. Also peer review, having the students give feedback to one another. And group work, for example, could be difficult. And the group work sometimes is difficult because there could be one person in the group that's floating. So you give each person a task. One person needs to give them, the review of what they did. One person. The games, the icebreakers, actually make a whole lot of difference in the experience of the student. Another, did I have something? Oh, the meetings. Yeah. So the personal meetings, which is a very, very big, and I'm going to move to the next one. The personal meetings, when you meet someone in person, it changes everything. A lot of students report that they feel like part of the masses, especially in the online course. And the way to break that feeling, when you sit in front of a video, it's very hard for you to feel like someone is on the other side and someone cares. It's a robot. Maybe someone played it last year. Especially some videos we actually recycle. We play them another year, and the students are totally gone. If you meet those students, even one time during the semester, right now I'm helping teach a user experience course at Harvard, and we're trying to use those tools. And every student has to meet, we have 200 students and 5 TAs, so every student has to meet once throughout the semester, has to meet their TA, online via Skype or Zoom. And that meeting of, the in-person, even if it's a 5-10 minute meeting we have throughout the semester, makes an entire difference for the students. They feel like there's someone else on the other side. Questions? Questions and feedback are a big thing with those platforms. The students can often feel very lost. You watch a video, and sometimes your eyes just roll away. If you have at the end of the video questions about the video, or even like a checklist of, this video is about this. Did you actually get this? Did you get this? Things to check. That makes also a big difference. Giving feedback is another important thing. We're actually starting to experiment audio and video feedback. So some students don't write. Some of them record their feedback. Some of them could videotape themselves. We're trying to open it to the different learning styles. I could talk here forever, but I'm going to try and do it short. Accountability is huge. Accountability, do you guys know how long my talk is going to be? No. So I planned to talk for 30 minutes. I think I started already with 15, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You have 10 minutes left. By the fact that you know how long this is going to take, me being accountable to you, having those expectations met, makes an entire, it's revolutionary. I have a friend who's a preschool teacher, and you come to her preschool, and she tells her students, Amy is sad now, and you see all the students sit down and wait. So I'm like, how do you do that? How the hell do you do that with preschool students? And she says, listen, Shelby, I give them the boundaries. They know their boundaries and they feel safe. They know what's allowed, they know what's not allowed. By giving the boundaries and giving what to expect in the class, it creates this psychological safety in the students, and they know what to expect. The students, the most popular courses right now at Harvard, from the student's perspective, is the students where they send an email to their TA, and within 5 minutes they get a response. And that means your TA doesn't have a life, because he's always checking his phone to give you feedback. How do you overcome that? Especially if you're a professor and you have 200 students and you don't have any TAs. So you can respond to them. But if you tell them, listen, I'm one professor, you're 200 students, I'm going to check my email on Sundays between 4 to 6 p.m. So all the students know to expect that on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. I'm going to read my emails. I'm going to tell you also that I won't be able to answer everybody. If I see a question repeats itself, I'm going to put it on the board, on the discussion board, so you can follow with that. And I'm also going to answer with maybe 1 or 2 words. But you know what to expect. I told you what to expect, and that makes you feel safe as a student to what to expect. Again, also the checklist at the end of the video, the end of the class. Did you learn this? Did you learn that? having those check marks makes a whole difference because it keeps that accountability. The student knows what to expect, and you do that every week. You create modules. You create a structure that the student knows what to expect, and it repeats itself. And it makes a whole difference. I know as a student, sometimes I'm really scared that I miss something. But if I know what I'm supposed to do, it makes me feel very safe. So if you want to take a screenshot, these are kind of the main themes that we found and we're building for the platform, and what I've kind of discussed so far. I want to tell you now in brief about this one. Okay. I can also post this on my Facebook page or on the event Facebook page. This is the music. It was a cool guitar. What I'm doing now, I'm going to end with that, is what I'm doing now for my PhD. So I have this thing I call the MOOC paradox. The MOOC paradox is you have a scientist, a brilliant scientist. I'm going to give my father as an example. My father is a brilliant scientist. My father is a world expert in botany and water systems and plants. He's a professor in Hebrew. Because he's a scientist, he also has to be a professor. My father, God bless him, he's an introvert. And when he comes to stand in front of the students, he doesn't feel comfortable. The students don't feel comfortable. I call it paradox number one. The scientist is a brilliant scientist, but he's not always a presenter. And then we have the scientists that are great presenters and learn how to be great presenters, and we come with the edX and we're like, hey, how about we put you in front of the camera now? And people who work here at edX know, you meet a professor and they're like, I need to be in front of a camera? And that's why we have the teams at edX, of producers and creative people to help these professors. And then finally the professors are able to go online. And then they go online and they're competing with all the people on YouTube, all the bloggers, all those entertainers that are already online. So that's what I call the MOOC paradox. And for my master's capstone project, for my thesis, I kind of said, let's take the professor, let's take the scientist, and leave him as a scientist, and leave him as a content supervisor. Let's take actors to act out the content, and let's take storytellers to write a story based on the professor's content, based on an article. So for my master's, I made those short videos. Well, I thought they were short. They're 5 minutes long. My feedback was from Harvard students. So remember I gave you the feedback from the entrepreneurs from the MOOC class. This I built with feedback of my Harvard colleagues. So the Harvard colleagues were able to watch a 5-minute long video. There's text over the video. I'm going to show you a few parts. This was done by one person. We're just going to skip over because 5 minutes is a long time. So again, I'm taking research on mental health.
My professor suggested that I read these 2 books. There are studies which say that holding secrets is correlated with mental illness. Man, I kinda don't want the world to know what my secrets are.
We're just going to skip.
Remember that feeling. He keeps telling me that I am not an expressive type.
Yeah, jump again. I just want to show you the style of what I made. Kanban.
There are 2 kinds of people who don't experience painful emotions. These are psychopaths and dead people.
Sort of
So,
man going
if I do
through.
experience painful emotions,
Through his
I'm doing
difficult through
okay.
his emotions, and he's learning how to write.
Alive.
Like,
Finding a safe place to experience and express your fear, pain, jealousy, and anger. Babies let themselves go through all types of emotional states. But as humans grow up, we notice how people look at us, so we stop giving ourselves the permission to be human. And this is what gets us exhausted. It's not about not being sad. Everyone gets sad. It's about recovering, and you can only recover if you give yourself permission.
You saw a first, a little peek of that video was done, and it was about expressive writing. I got great feedback online, but what I wanted to tell you is, I can do that. When you come to build a video, when you come to build any product, you're dealing with a persona. A lot of companies focus on their product. Let's make an amazing app. But who are you making this app for? This is part of the illustration from the entrepreneurship course of how do these are the designers and the programmers and the hackers, thinking of who is their persona, they have a specific persona. For my PhD, I want to deal with a specific persona. I call so this is an example of a persona. The student at risk, the student with difficulties, dropout students. And again, when you deal with a persona, the best thing, especially from our research, when you try to target an island, you first of all try to conquer the beach. It's called the beachhead market. So my beach are the students at risk. I'm personally focusing on students at risk. Hopefully if I make something good for them, I can maybe make something good later for other students. So I'll give you an example of Kobe. Can you be Kobe for a second? No, enough. So Kobe left school because he was bullied, but he's very happy. Kobe has a girlfriend, but he only has this one problem at night. He experiences panic attacks. So Kobe goes to the doctor. Can you be the doctor? Can you be the doctor?
Yeah.
Kobe goes to the doctor and Kobe goes to the doctor and explains to him what you're going through. That's with your hand motion. He's explaining to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Listen, Kobe, this is great. I want to give you this pamphlet with all this information about what you're going through. This could help you." Kobe takes the pamphlet and starts walking towards the door. As he walks towards the door, he passes right before he closes the door. He drops the pamphlet in the trash. Thank you. Because Kobe doesn't like to read. So let's rewind. Kobe, come back to the doctor. Kobe's telling the doctor what he's going through. And the doctor says, "Listen, Kobe, let me show you a short video about a guy who's going through the same experience." So pick up your phone, Mr. Doctor. And Kobe watches a short video about someone who's going through the same experience. And hey, he could register through it on Instagram or Snapchat and watch more videos that he could learn from in the future. Thank you very much. So I'm doing research, and again, from my research, I want to show you an example of a shorter video that we made. Because again, I want to study what would work for this kind of demographic. Right? Harvard students are able to focus on something very long. Kobe's probably a shorter attention span. Again, I'm going to learn it once. I'm going to sit with those students and really see what they watch anyway. Is it Facebook? Probably not. Probably Instagram or Snapchat. I'm going to try to find what are the things they watch anyway. I want to show you an example of a video that we made for MIT. Teaser for a course. The course was given free online from the MIT School of Business. This is a free business class that you can take online about negotiations. Professor Ofer Sharon, Israeli Kamuvan. Ofer Sharon teaches the course of negotiation. We tried to make a very short clip that kind of shows you a peek about this course with actors. We filmed it at the basement of the library at MIT. Okay, I'm cool with that. Take a look.
Begin.
What do we do? We look into the eyes of the adversary.
We have other lines in the water.
You have other lines in the water that are fighting. Okay? I'm here now making you a deal. Most of the time, the best way to win is through cooperation.
Make sure you have a backup plan, and then it's realistic.
It's like they took him to the shredder.
So this is a short, this is a 1 minute long video. It might be too long. Again, I didn't study yet my user and what works for them. But this was an experiment that we did, and that was a teaser for a course where you could, watch more what happened to these characters throughout the course. So the first step in my research was 3 steps. One is the independent motivation. What would they like to watch? What would be a video that they would watch not because someone forced them to sit down and watch it, something that they would watch on their phone. The second is having an impact. I'll tell you about a story about Derek Muller at the University of Australia, who did short videos about physics. And he used animation, and he showed students, and the students kept on saying, this was cool, this was engaging. They kept saying, engaging. Then he tested them on the video, and they didn't learn a thing. What Derek Muller explains is that when we watch a video, our brain makes the shortcuts. It's trying to see what we already know, and then like float over the rest of the information, because we just, our brain wants to think less. It's a natural thing. What Derek Muller did, it's called Research and Design, he started the next series of videos by opening the video with a misconception that we have about physics. So Derek Muller walks on the street, and the first person he meets, he's like, hey, why does the sun emit heat? And the person says, well, combustion? Why does the sun emit heat? The next person says, well, hydrogen. And what happens as a viewer, and that's what's being recorded, you empathize with the misconception. You empathize with the problem, the conflict. You start with the conflict, and the person that's viewing is already empathizing with the conflict, and slowly it forces them to think, basically. And slowly, as he builds the answer, you learn it. And after the students were tested for that, they actually learned something, because you start with the conflict, you start with the misconception, and then build up the answer. That'll be the second step of my research, finding what they like to watch, and then how to make that something that they actually gain information from. Does anyone here know about BuzzFeed? So I met BuzzFeed in LA this summer. And I thought I was going to do this with BuzzFeed. But BuzzFeed is mostly research on popularization. How do we make something that people like to watch? Not necessarily something that they obtain information from. It's not really what they're concerned about. And that's the end of my research, which is, I met researchers from Haifa University who asked, Shalavi, what is the process that you're creating? And I said, well, I just want to get to the students and I want to make them learn something. And they're like, yeah, but you know as an educator that when you just learn something, it doesn't make a change. How do you make the student actually respond to the video? And that was, I went home frustrated and was like, yeah, that is a dream to really make a student act. And I started looking at research that was done, and I was really inspired by, in the 1970s, science teachers collaborated with Pizza Hut. And the students that created every time a student had a science project and presented it, they got a Pizza Hut coin. And when they got 10 Pizza Hut coins, a pizza pie was sent to their home. So it was a win-win situation. Pizza Hut got, more commercial, and they're connected with education. The students got pizza, and everyone was very happy. They had some sort of monetary value. And this would be, ideally, it's my dream, to get to a place where I could make a video that they can learn, but actually act on, especially because I'm working with videos of mental health, something they could act on. And I'm going to, again, go back to my user experience research. Like, what would be something that they would value? What would be the monetary value for those students? Is it going to be pizza? It might be something else. But eventually, I want to create something that would make them learn something. What make them act on it? And I told you all this to hopefully, maybe take some things in your mind that you could use for your project. And I want to say that I've met a few of the people here before, and I'm meeting people here now, and I find you all really inspiring. There are a lot of people who are really thinking here out of the box, especially in Israel. I find it more than in the US, to be honest. So I want to say y'all are super cool. I feel a real honor to be from here and to work with people here. Right now, the next step on my journey, I just came on Sunday night from a tour all around Europe. I was in Finland, Norway, Germany, everywhere, to really try to find the right research group to do my PhD with. And right now, we're looking at options and scholarships. Maybe I could find one in Israel. But that's my step right now, funding and scholarships, and then the research would be more developed. If anyone wants to give me suggestions or hear more, I totally invite you to contact me. If you want to hear more of what I spoke about before or get feedback on things we're doing, we're very, very happy. I'm very passionate about these subjects. Feel free to add me on Facebook or any of these other cool online platforms. My name is very easy to find on Google. It's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, I want to open it to questions if anyone has, and then we're going to move into our groups. So if anyone, אם למישהו יש שאלות, זה הזמן. כן, דורון.
רציתי לשאול על איך המעבר נוצר בין למידה שנעשית בתנאים מאוד אינגייג'ינג ואינטראקטיביים, לבין נגיד הסוויץ' הזה ליום-יום, נגיד בעבודה או בלמידה של טקסטבוקים שהופכת להיות מאוד שירותית. זאת אומרת, איך זה לא הופך להיות מעין נפילה כזאת שקשה...
כן, אז דורון שאל איך המעבר הזה נעשה מלמידה, מלימוד של משהו מאוד חווייתי ואינטראקטיבי, ואז כשהסטודנט חוזר בעצם לטקסט. כאילו איך המעבר אחר זה, איך עושים את המעבר הזה, זה משהו מאוד מגניב לטקסט. אז זו שאלה טובה. שאלה מאוד מאוד טובה, אני יכולה לראות בעברית פה. התוכן, כאילו התוכן המאוד כיף הוא בעצם מעצים את התוכן של הטקסט. ושוב, התשובה הכי נכונה שאני אענה לך זה אני לא יודעת. התשובה שכרגע אני יודעת זה שסטודנטים, למשל בקורס שעשינו בעדק, הרבה מהם הזמינו את הספר. כי היה להם כל כך כיף לראות את המרצה, ואנחנו הסתובבנו ברחוב ועשינו מה שהמרצה אמר, והיה להם כיף עם החומר, וזה גרם להם לרצות לקרוא על זה יותר. המחקר שלי מתמקד כנראה בנוער מצוקה, שאני לא מניחה שהם ירצו ללמוד את זה יותר, לקרוא על זה, אבל יכול להיות שכן. את זה אני אגלה תוך כדי המחקר לפי. אבל אם יש למישהו יש תשובה יותר טובה, אז אתם מוזמנים. עוד שאלה? גם בנוסף אני אסתובב אחרי זה בין הקבוצות, אם יש לאנשים יותר שאלות, שיהיה לכם יותר זמן לפתח. אז לא עוד מישהו איזושהי שאלה בוערת עכשיו? אוקיי, אז תודה רבה.